What's up, dudes? So before we get into the main script of this video, because I just want to say this is probably going to be a bit of a longer video because I have way more to say than I originally thought I would. And this is my first time really trying to script a video in this way. So I'm definitely interested to see how it turns out, but with that being said, let's just get into it. This is just a random video that I've been wanting to make because it's no secret that me and my friends are working on a game as a passion project. And I have been wanting to push these characters and implement them more into my channel. It's actually because of this that I started to update my profile picture and finally designed a proper online avatar for myself. But that's a story for another time. So back on topic, I thought on top of the standard content, I can make these to sort of help introduce them and talk about their lore, personality, and some of the inspiration and other creative processes I had when making these characters. And today is my first ever OC, Crystal. So with that being said, let's get into the origin of her creation. Crystal's creation came about in about 2016. While playing Fire Emblem Fates, after playing through Birthright, I wanted to play through Conquest and decided to make a female character. After much debate on what I should name my character, I ended up with Crystal. Fast forward a bit, and I found myself interested in playing Final Fantasy XIV because some friends were playing it. And I didn't like how the male options looked because generally in games like this with character customization, I like to either try and make myself and immerse myself in the world and story, or I will make Crystal as the female character if I either don't like the male options for customization, or if I just want to use a female character. And that's what I did in this case. She started life in that game as a female hero. Later, Monster Hunter World would come out and I would get the game on both Xbox and PlayStation 4, so I could play with my friends on both, making Crystal my hunter on the PS4 version. Fast forward even more, when Soul Calibur 6 came out, I made her as a custom character and that for fun. Sometime later I started playing FF14 again, and after completing Base A Realm Reborn, I used the free Fantasia to try a different race for her, turning her from a Here into an Au Ra. That's what she's been there since, and finally, when thinking of characters for the game, in the early phase I was thinking of character archetypes, ended up with deciding to make her the game's ninja character, and bringing us to where we are today. Now, let's get into her design. Some of the inspirations I had when making this character are small things. Like when making her mask, I was inspired by the type of mask Taki wears in Soul Calibur 6. Though I did try and theme it after a dragon to try and keep it consistent with the design of the character. The long scarf was inspired by Kunoichi from DNF Duel, mainly because I liked how it flowed in her animations and I wanted to implement something like that in our game for the character. Now for her Draconic Link, as I'm currently calling it. I am still working on certain details and will go more in depth with it in the abilities and lore section of the video. But for what I do have, scales grow on her acting as extra armor, her nails sharpen, and she gains dragon-like fangs. The inspiration for this form was a combination of her Au Ra design from FF14, the Ninetales cloak or QB cloak, whatever you want to call it, from Naruto, and Soul Bad Guy's dragon install from Guilty Gear, and plenty of other details that I might either change or add, but right now that's all we got. For her casual design, she has a bit of a short hoodie that was inspired by the Japanese pop star Bayonetta from Bayonetta 3. But like I said, there's some parts of this outfit that I do plan on changing or adding to in the future. And that's more or less everything I can think on at the moment. Next, I want to talk about her personality and relationships from her world. For her personality, Crystal tends to be very kind, caring, and relaxed when not on a job. However, when she is on a job, she tends to be more professional and in a serious state of mind. Now for her relationships with characters from her dimension, her original dimension. Mainly because I haven't fleshed out her interactions with the other characters in the main dimension where Distortion takes place, or world, or whatever you want to call it. One last thing to touch on is the fact that Crystal is bisexual and she is dating Kaze, another character that I'll be talking about at a later date, along with another character that joins them on jobs every once in a while. She has a great relationship with both her parents, in which I'll go more in depth as to who they are in the lore section of the video. Now for her abilities. She uses both the katana and a shorter ninja toe, I believe is what it's called. If I'm wrong, I will either adjust the design or I'll correct myself in the future. She also carries some kunai and shuriken. She has a natural affinity for fire-based abilities, which combined with her bloodline is further increased. The scroll she has helps her use elements that she would otherwise struggle to use. Now for her Draconic Link form. This form gives her a boost in her abilities and gives her a more aggressive demeanor. Where she tends to fight more aggressively despite her increased abilities, it takes a toll on her stamina. She tends to focus more on her physical abilities rather than her ninjutsu. And that should be a basic understanding of her abilities. Now I think it's time to talk about the lore. Alright, the lore section. This is probably going to be the longest part, so... To start this section, I think it's safe to talk about her parents. Starting with her father, Jesse Williams. He was once a professional assassin who met Akane Akaryu while working undercover for one of his jobs. They grew attached and ended up getting married and having a child who became Crystal. Jesse would end up taking the last name of Akaryu in order to try and keep his family safe, and would give up his life as an assassin. Thankfully, an old friend / contact would offer Jesse a job as a secretary and a secret bodyguard. Thanks to this, Crystal would have a relatively normal life up until a business trip, with Akane and Crystal using it as an excuse for a vacation. While on the train, a group of thugs would hijack and attempt to capture Jesse's boss. In response to this, Jesse would tell Akane to take Crystal somewhere safe. After this event, Jesse and Akane would talk of some form of martial arts where Jesse would recommend a ninja academy he had learned about from his days as an assassin. Akane would reluctantly agree, but would be reassured after being told they could visit every week. Akane would then explain to Crystal her lineage as part of the Akaryu clan, and her connection to the ancient dragon spirit. After 6 years at this secret school, Crystal would emerge a top ninja. This would also be where she would meet and become friends with Kaze. She would spend some time at home, where she would introduce Kaze to her parents, while also explaining her plans to become an adventurer, both to travel the world, but also help those in need since she had gained the skills to do so. Because of this, her mother would then explain to her that she believes Crystal is one of the few who could achieve a link with the dragon spirit, but to only attempt so as a last resort because according to legend, if a person were to attempt the link, could possibly end up losing themselves. Her mother would then give her both her scarf and a scroll containing information on how to achieve the link. Sometime later, after some jobs and meeting some people both her and Kaze can call friends and allies, Crystal received a call from her mother asking if she could visit. Crystal accepts and meets up with her at the village her mother lived in. It has been about 3 years since Crystal started as an adventurer, and 1 year since she last saw her family, so she decided to go. While she was there, unfortunately the village was attacked by one of the aspects, this world's version of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The aspect attacking the village was war. Thankfully, due to their quick thinking, Akane was able to help evacuate the citizens of the village, while Crystal, Jesse, and the village warriors attempted to drive back war. However, they were barely holding their own and losing ground fast. Unfortunately, things took a turn for the worse when Crystal attempted to defend her father from an oncoming attack. Now struggling to stand, she looks on and witnesses her father slowly getting beat down. She makes the decision to attempt to activate her Draconic Link. Time seems to slow down when suddenly a new figure appears, asking Crystal why she desires this power. Crystal answers in a combination of determination and desperation, fully aware of the possible consequences, but she didn't care in this moment. All she wanted to do was save the remaining villagers and her father. The figure accepted the answer, and with this, Crystal was given power along with the ability to activate the link without the consequence of losing both her mind and body. With this new power, Crystal explodes into a rage, attacking War right before her father is killed, proceeding to match and even exceed War in combat for this moment, unleashing a powerful flurry of attacks, at one point taking her sword and slicing off War's hand. Thankfully, Crystal was able to fight until backup arrived, Kaze showing up and immediately noticing both the damage to Jesse and the village, but also what had happened to Crystal. With backup having arrived, and Crystal doing the damage she did, War realized the battle was lost, because despite being immortal, the aspects are not invincible and can be harmed, and War had already lost a hand due to Crystal's newfound power. After War retreats, time slows again, and the figure from before explains that she gave Crystal the extra strength needed. However, when she enters the link from now on, it won't be nearly as strong, then congratulates her on finding this new strength before disappearing, and time resuming as she embraces Kaze and her family. She notices a cloaked figure clapping, this figure being the aspect of death, but that's a story more tied to Kaze. Shortly after, while on a job, Crystal, Kaze, and a couple of friends end up finding a mysterious portal that ends up sucking Crystal and Kaze in, now finding themselves in a new world where they end up in a new chapter in their lives. In this new world, that is the world of Distortion, which I haven't thought of a proper name yet. Holy shit, okay, yeah, this was a new, different process for me. I haven't done a scripted video like this outside of skits in a long time. So it was very interesting to go about. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video and are interested to see where I can go about it in the future. So if you guys enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, maybe a comment, and possibly subscribing. I do stream over on Twitch as well, so if you want to leave a follow there, feel free. All my socials and stuff will be in the description of the video. So, yeah. Thank you dudes for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the near future, for whatever it may be.